I can't find the thing.
The thing?
The thing. The thing that goes to the beginning.
Oh, the thing.
The thing.
The thing.
Thing.
Yes.
It's around here somewhere. I
I-
usually keep it in the folder next to all the other stuff, so when I'm editing, it all just goes together.
Yeah, it's usually right here. It's about there, right?
Yeah, so I do like the skits up here, and then I do the audio edit down here, and then I've got the and then the final edit mix goes in a separate Audacity window.
Yeah.
Maybe we can entice it out.
Right.
Let's see if there's some kind of call for it. Like,
It doesn't seem to be working, does it?
think I can think. Oh, here he comes!
Ah.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast. Two queer trans ladies have a bit of a talk about our weeks and the things what we've done.
Yeah.
You looked very confused during the opening there.
There's some very strange adverts for clothing on your screen.
Oh yeah,
Don't piss off old people.
Yes, definitely not being worn by an old person. Don't piss off old people. The older we get, the less life in prison is a deterrent. That is not an old man wearing that
No.
don't piss off old people shirt.
No.
That is very much a mid-20s, early 30s buff man.
At least.
Yeah. I apologise that I have the internet open with distractions during recording.
Easily distracted.
Yeah, it's Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's
It
a
is.
podcast. Two queer trans ladies. We talk about the media we've
you and me.
consumed in the week. We start off as ever this week with things we've played. What have you played this week?
We played some things together.
Tell me about what we've played together.
We played Cthulhu Wars Duel.
Yes, we did.
After 2 hours of reading the manual.
Yes, a game that is relatively simple, but that made its instruction manual so confusing that
It's a badly written manual.
It's badly written, took us 2 hours to go through the instructions. I fell asleep at one point.
You did.
Yeah,
I persevered.
Yeah, do you
Whilst
want
we slept.
to explain this game? Because
I mean, I can explain it in a sensible way, or I can explain it the way the game explains itself.
explain it in the sensible way first.
It's an area control game where you are great old ones from the Lovecraft mythos, and you are trying to get your cultists together to open portals to summon through various sizes of monsters. And eventually summon your great old one, and in the meantime you're generating spells to make yourself stronger and move things more forward. Gameplay's in about an hour, maybe 2 hours. You'll probably, go through the sort of, I think it's 4 or 5 phases.
Yeah.
And you'll probably go through those like 4 to 6 times.
Yeah.
Because during the instructions or during watching a video on YouTube, they were saying sort of like, yeah, 5 to 6 is about the average, and we got to round 2, I was like, this is going to take ages.
The game really sped up in rounds 3 through 5. It's got a weird pacing to it.
It really ramps up,
Yeah.
but it doesn't outstay its welcome.
Yeah, so the basic idea of this game is you have your units in your various factions, be it the Black Goat or Cthulhu, and you get additional spending power in future rounds by controlling areas and having gates in certain areas. So by controlling areas and gates, you get more spending power for future rounds, which lets you summon in more units, which lets you get more area control. And you can do combat-based clashes, where each of your units, for each specific class, will have different abilities that impact how they do combat. Ultimately, it comes down to dice rolls, but there are modifiers you can unlock that are things like, you did this objective on the board, therefore pick one of your additional skills to add to your repertoire. do all your various modifiers. Like you might have a creature that's like, when the battle starts, just devour a thing straight away.
Nom, nom, nom.
Or it might be, if you've got some of these units in the battle, then this thing gets to roll more dice. And basically, you're rolling. What is it? Is it 6s or 5s and 6s gets you actual kills?
6 is a kill. 4s and 5s are pains. Everything else is a miss.
Yeah. So it's basically stack it as best you can to get a higher number of dice to roll, so that you got a better chance of getting some kills in.
Yep.
What did you think? It wasn't bad. It was.
It relies too heavily on dice roll. There's not enough of a way to mitigate the dice rolls.
Yeah, like
I don't mind games where we roll dice. Like, I have played the crap out of Too Many Bones.
Yeah. Well, we've got another game we'll talk about shortly today that's a dice roll one that
Yeah.
had better mechanics for that.
We've played a lot of games where you roll dice.
Yeah.
This stuffed even.
Yeah. This seems to have decided that being able to roll a larger number of dice is an adequate replacement for being able to re-roll or modify dice, and I don't think either of us likes that approach to dice roll games.
It's random.
Yeah. It's like, obviously,
because you can get the same the problem that you have in like Risk or something else, where like it doesn't matter if you've got 13 dice to roll, if none of them are a kill or even a pain.
Yeah.
Which is statistically unlikely, but still entirely possible because game theory. But like it's not fun when somebody's like, oh yeah, well I've only got like 6 dice to roll. Oh well, I've got 13. Well, you got all kills and I got fuck all.
Yeah. I see what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a very simple, easy to understand, asymmetric area control game.
Well,
And
what they're trying to do and what they repeatedly explain throughout the manual is they're trying to make an affordable cut-down version of Cthulhu Wars, which is a huge miniatures game that's very expensive and very complicated.
I have some problems with this game's instructions. Not only were they needlessly lengthy and convoluted and made the game sound a lot more complicated than it was, they keep making references to expansions we don't have.
Yes. The whole thing about Cthulhu Wars Duel is, hey, do you like Cthulhu Wars, or do you want to try Cthulhu Wars but without all the miniatures and all the other crappy plastic and stuff? And, be able to get it to the table more often. Here is a 2-player variant that is, very specifically designed to be a more streamlined version of that. And there are only 2 elder gods or old ones in this box, but we will repeatedly use examples involving old ones you don't have.
That's the thing that irritated me. It's not that they kept trying to upsell the expansions, but that they used the expansions as the examples for how certain moves work. Where it's like, oh, this element of gameplay works like this, as you can see with this old god you don't have. Like, we literally did not have the cards to reference that they were talking about to properly understand the examples they were laying out.
The ones that was getting me worse than that was, oh, it's usually like this, blah, blah, blah. Unless you're using this elder god, we don't have it. Here's an example using that elder god. Why? We don't need it. You've made a massive waste of paper in the starting box.
There's also a lot of, like, weird wording on the rules where you had to sort of intuit, oh, the reason they've worded that in a weirdly vague way is probably because an elder god we don't have works differently.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, any number of your biggest units. Well, there's only one of each of the biggest. Oh no, a different class has multiples.
This thing that we've referenced several times now that isn't in this box, that this manual is only for this box, surely. No, they want to account for everything. So I'm guessing that should you buy any of those other expansion gods, there's nothing in there. There's going to be no manual. It's just going to be, some cardboard? And a new starting board? Like, they could sell them as basically just a sheet of card.
Yeah.
It's a punch board.
It sure is a choice they made.
A bad choice.
Yeah.
A bad choice.
I didn't have a bad time playing, but it was just... it wasn't great or recommendable.
Yeah,
Nothing about this makes me go, oh, you need to check this out.
No, and for like a brand new game that's supposed to do a whole new thing, they fucked it up.
Yeah. Also, just a side note, the video tutorial we tried to watch, which was like the only one really available at the time
There
of
was
recording.
a couple, they were much, much longer.
Yeah, the only like short and reasonable length one was constantly assuming you've played the full game of Cthulhu Wars and explaining it in reference to that, not actually explaining to you.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just coming to this, how does it work?
You can pretty much learn to play this game reading the back of the manual, like the quick start guide.
Honestly,
And
yeah.
then for anything you go, oh, is this a thing? Actually look into the manual to the specific pages for a full breakdown.
The back page turn order breakdown is a much more concise, like, oh, I actually understand what the flow of this game is.
Yeah. They did a bad job.
Yeah.
So that's Cthulhu Wars Duel by, I think it's Sandy Peterson Games. You did a bad job. What have you played?
Well, since last week, I've been playing Cooking Mama Cookstar.
You're getting surrounded by that stuff, huh?
Yeah, I've been playing it on the PS5, because the PS4 version of that game came out. Short summary of the nonsense around this game. A year ago, a game called Cooking Mama Cookstar came to the Switch. It was released digitally on the eShop and then about 2 hours later taken down. Office Creates, who own the licensing rights to Cooking Mama, said that Planet Entertainment, who developed the game, released it without Office Creates' permission because Office Creates had a contractual thing that was like, it has to be of this level of quality before you release it. It hadn't met that quality bar, it got released anyway, that's why it got taken off the eShop. Also, Office Creates was like, hey, while we're at it, we only licensed them to make a Switch version. They've been advertising a PS4 version. We did not give them permission to make a PS4 version. No. So a year goes by, and a PS4 version starts showing up in North America. Only at, like, Target and Walmart, not at any gaming retailers. A couple of days after that, it goes up on the PSN store, and I cannot work out for the life of me whether the legal situation around this game has changed at all, or whether this has just been pushed out weirdly. Because the short version is, it's only available in North America, which is weird and suspect as fuck, and it really seems like them releasing it in a territory where Office Creates doesn't have offices because they're a Japanese-based company and they're basically trying to, like, be funny about it. Office Creates and the official Cooking Mama Twitter have not acknowledged the existence of this PS4 version of the game.
Even when you've asked them.
Yep, the Office Creates website still has a big red banner with an exclamation mark saying, PS4 version not official, do not buy it.
Yeah, but when you asked them, they just referred you back to that statement.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I suspect that Office Creates isn't saying anything because they're probably gearing up for legal action. Like,
makes sense.
It's probably a case of we shouldn't say anything because legal stuff. I tried to get answers out of Planet Entertainment. I was like, hey, has anything changed since a year ago when Office Creates said you didn't have the rights to do this? And they spent a week trying to fob me off with increasingly large numbers of copies of this game and a suspiciously large affiliate link.
Wasn't it like 20% or something?
Yeah, they were offering me $10 per sale of the game through an affiliate link on a $40 game. That's a 25% of the sale price per copy sold, which I didn't accept that affiliate link because that seems suspect as fuck.
Trying to be involved in crime.
Yeah, so I ended up accepting a couple of digital codes for the game. I gave one to the other Cooking Mama Cookstar speedrunner that exists. So me and Val, I was like, look, I'll take code. I want to know what this does to the speedrunning community, and I want to make sure that my fellow speedrunner can keep pace. And then some physical copies showed up today, so that's fun.
So it definitely exists. Was there a manual?
There was no manual, but there was some interesting information to be gleaned from the disc itself on the back of the box. So I learned some interesting stuff. But I've been playing the PS4 version of Cookstar. It's a better version than the Switch port. which is surprising to me, because I expected this was just going to be a rush job, kicked out the door, pushed out the door, like, last minute.
Have you noticed your PS4 overheating?
No, I have not. I've been keeping it on the PS5, it's been running fine. Yeah, so I expected this to be just, like, the laziest possible port, but, where the Switch version has 2 modes, and you have to be in one mode or the other, which is either buttons and sticks, or motion, all or nothing. This game uses a combination of various inputs. It uses buttons and sticks for some inputs, motions for some, and it has touchscreen support with the little touchpad on the PlayStation controller, which, even in handheld mode, the Switch had no touchscreen support. It also has, like, the light colours on the controller change when you're doing badly or when you're doing well, and sounds come out the controller. They put some effort into this. From a speedrunning perspective, oh my god, the PS4 version on PS5 is the way to speedrun. Loading times basically don't exist anymore. On an average recipe, I could shave 30 seconds off of my personal best. On, like, first attempt at a recipe, 30 seconds better than the fastest time I'd ever got after practice. Largely based on decreased loading time, but also because certain animations seem to be playing at a faster pace.
Okay.
The game runs at 60 frames a second compared to 30 frames a second on Switch, and it seems like some of the animations, they've not added additional frames, they've just played that animation at twice the frame rate, which means that, like, certain things complete twice as fast.
Nice.
Additionally, the touchscreen support in particular, really, really, really big time saver for some of the mini games that were particular time sticks for me, things that I got really stuck on, particularly scrubbing dirt off potatoes, something that was really difficult to do with the analog stick. I can do really fast with the touchscreen now.
Clean a potato.
Yeah, so I can't say I recommend this maybe a crime cooking mama game on PS4.
But if you do, here's an affiliate link.
I didn't accept the affiliate link, but I keep being like, maybe I should go back and take it. Fuck it. Fuck it. But, like, from a speedrunning perspective, I did not expect it to be this drastic of a change, and for me to be like, oh, this is the version I'm going to be speedrunning now. So, interesting from a speedrunning perspective, but, like, this is better than the Switch version. It's still not a great Cookin' Mama game.
No.
So yeah, that's Cookin' Mama Cook Star. What about you? What have you played this week?
We played an other board game.
Tell me about an other board game that we played.
We played X-Men Mutant Insurrection.
And this is another dice-based game, but a better one mechanically.
Yes. Wow. There's a lot to explain here. So you've got the X-Persons.
Yep.
You've got, like, the X-Men Mansion, which represents 3 cards. We can go and recover health or train up. You have like some story cards, you have villain cards, you have mutant cards which can come and assist you. You have bond cards so you can form bonds with other players. You have a whole three threat decks that get progressively harder. There is so much going on in this game.
I think the best way to explain it to someone who's not played it is this is a dice rolling game with a lot of modifiers in order to try and get through various challenges. And you're basically trying to get through a bunch of story missions before a threat counter reaches the top end of a scale. And the reason that you might not go for the story missions every single time is occasionally other smaller missions will get turned over, and those being turned over might increase the speed at which you go up the threat track. So you need to manage the small missions while trying to get through the big story mission.
Yeah, it's a mission-based dice rolling game, but you have, like, as I said, so I mentioned training earlier, you have ways of getting, like, little tokens, and you can hold one at a time, and that might be something you can use to complete part of a mission.
Yeah.
The symbols on the dice are, there's I think, 4 symbols total?
Yeah, there's, like, punchy, DNA,
the X-Men symbol, and villainy.
Yes.
And depending on what colour of dice you're using, they will be, like, different spread of, like, the red dice are more punchy, and the yellow dice I think have got more DNA,
Yeah.
and the blue dice have more X-Men power.
It reminded me in some ways of a little bit like Flatline, in that
Yes.
it's one of those games where you have various rows of symbols that you have to roll the right things on the dice to fill out the rows, and then you can put a little thing over it to be like, I did that row of stuff. And when you do all the rows of putting symbols down, that card's cleared off the board. It's one of those kind of games.
Yeah.
I like the variety of ways that you can influence your rolls.
Yes.
As a default, every character has 2 times that they can per round that they can re-roll as many dice as they like. Plus, you can swap cards with another player to give each other a particular bonus.
Assist.
Yeah, which will usually be something like you can change any one of your symbols to this symbol, or you can re-roll 1 dice of this colour, or like something additional that will help you with how to do that.
Yeah.
And it'll give you some different dice in your pool as well.
Yeah, so basically your main character card has four dice on it. They could be any mixture of colours. And then you have like a secondary card which has just 2 die and an ability on it. And you can like offer that as an assist to other people. And because we were playing 2-player, we basically just left the assists with each other.
I like the bond system, where sometimes when you did something successfully, you and another character would get a bond, and that would be something positive. It would usually give you both an additional ability that you could use on your
tap
turn.
a card to tap this card to change a
dice result,
result or something like that.
But there was always the threat, and we didn't have it come up in the first game, of if something goes wrong, this card might get flipped and it might become a problem between the two of you.
Which is broken a bond.
Yeah, and if I like that there was very little punishment for if one of your characters died, other than losing your bonds. So you,
I mean, specifically in the case of a 2-player game, like all of our bonds were between each other.
yeah,
So it was like suddenly like all of those powers have gone by.
yeah, that's the main thing. But it's like, yeah, if your character dies, just have a new character and keep going, which I did like as an idea.
I think the game was all right overall. Like, I enjoyed the artwork. I like the little standee of the Blackbird.
Yeah.
Because between missions you go back to the Blackbird and then redeploy. So it was quite fun to be able to sort of go back and do that. And my main problem with it was I don't think necessarily all of those story missions are going to work properly with different player counts.
Agreed.
It felt like, I think the mission we played was only supposed to be like a level 2 difficulty.
Yeah.
Out of 3 possible difficulty levels, and I really don't see how 2 people on their own can do that.
I feel like we needed a third person to be on top of that.
It's 1 to 6 player, but I really think that we needed a lot more for that.
Because the main issue is that you're punished for if you attempt to solve a card but don't completely do it. But if you get into a situation where, like, okay, I've taken some damage, I'm off healing, and then you've got one person where it's like, well, I don't really want to tackle this thing this turn because I'm going to fail if I try and do it by myself, and we're just going to get punished for it.
Yeah, there is an ability whereby basically if a character dies, you can just pick a new one out of the box.
Yeah, but
right up until you're on the very final mission. So I think in many ways it might be worth just throwing characters at them and just letting them die.
But maybe doing so in the early game to get through a little faster through some of the stuff. But toward the end, you definitely want to keep your characters alive because you want to build those bonds up so that you have a better chance in the final rounds.
Absolutely.
And again, I feel like just the ability for one person to go heal while 2 go and do a mission would really open up this game a lot.
100%.
Like, definitely didn't have a bad time. There's a much more robustly made game here.
Yes.
And even in 2-player, I had a good time playing, even if we were up against the odds a bit.
Fantasy Flight know how to make a game, even if their manuals do largely say, he did this, and he does that.
Oh, he.
Why, there's no laughing matter, I assure you. In reference to that also happens in Cthulhu Wars.
Yeah.
All of the references were he, hims.
Yes. Why?
Except when they were referring specifically to the black goat, never to the players.
Yes, there was a moment for a second where I was like, wait, they used she, her in a board game? Oh.
They're talking specifically about
Yes.
Anne, great old one.
Yes. Great unknowable old one, but they have to be gendered because they do a birthing.
Yep. So that was X-Men Insurrection by Fantasy Flight Games.
Yeah.
It's alright. You got any others?
I have continued playing a bunch of Monster Hunter.
You have.
Monster Hunter's really good.
I'm glad you're enjoying
I really
it.
like Monster Hunter.
You've been fighting the penis dragon.
I was fighting the penis dragon. I don't like the penis dragon.
Nobody likes the penis dragon. It's all saggy.
It does make a set of armor that does look like medical fetish gear. Like, it looks like white latex nurse outfit.
Whatever you're into.
Yeah. No, okay, so I'm currently up to rank 5, both in single player and multiplayer out of 7. I'm going through it much more slowly than most people because I am trying to make every set of armor as I go. I have just finished grinding out many fights with the Magnum Arlo, which is the big creature on the box art and the game logo, the sort of signature creature of this game. I made the low rank version of its armor, which is gonna be the set of armor I think I'm probably gonna be carrying through a lot of the high rank content. I very much like this game. It's a very good game. I have a lot of people who've asked me, like, how does this stack up to Monster Hunter World, which is the last one that came out. Comparing this to the launch day version of Monster Hunter World, I think this is a better game. I think that they have streamlined a lot of stuff. A lot of the changes they have made here are nice quality of life changes that just cut down on the downtime and increase the amount of time you are just doing the hunting of monsters, which is nothing but a good thing. I like the fact that they've reduced the narrative down a bit so you can get into it quicker and just get doing the fights. I like the riding of the dog because it means that when a monster runs away, you can chase after it much faster and spend a lot less time going, I'm going to spend 2 minutes trudging across the map just to be able to keep the fight going.
The multiplayer seems alright.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the multiplayer, doing a lot
You've been playing with Nix, you've been playing with the community.
Yeah, I've never been a big multiplayer Monster Hunter person, largely because I don't know people to play online multiplayer games with, but it's been really nice. This is the first Monster Hunter game that has come out since I've been regularly streaming, and it's been really nice to just have stream nights of like, here's my code in the chat. Feel free to come and play for a couple of fights, and then we'll rotate people in, and yeah, I'm really, 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 really enjoying Monster Hunter Rise. It's a very good video game. I've been playing with the Charge Blade. That weapon is needlessly complicated, but I feel very accomplished for getting better with it. I learned how to do sprints with the dog and make the dog jump up walls really high. I have been doing some good solo fights with the Magnum Arlo and been doing good at those. My main complaint about the game, my biggest complaint about the game, and it's not a huge complaint, but it's there, is they introduced something called Rampage encounters, which are basically tower defense segments, where instead of doing Monster Hunter gameplay, here is a thing, defend the gate, put some turrets down, go man the turrets and do first-person shooting at the monsters. And
see, I thought that looked really cool. But
here's the thing, it looks really cool. I like it in theory. In practice, it doesn't play well. It's clearly mechanically less well thought out than the actual hunting gameplay. And the whole time I'm shooting at these creatures, I'm just like, I have my sword with me. I would like to fight that creature with the sword, but no, I must sit here holding down the ZR button while it just fires slowly some knives at it from a distance. It's that classic problem of, I see what you've tried to do. You've tried to introduce some variety to the gameplay, but what you've done is you've taken your very intricately crafted gameplay you've perfected over the last 20 years and gone, do you want to stop playing the video game that you bought and do this instead?
Is this cars in Saints Row 4?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, you're massively powerful and having fun flying around and jumping and doing all the little things, and Do you want to get in a car? A what? Sorry?
Yes, it's hey, you can sprint down the road and leap 1,000 miles into the air and glide across the city. Yes, but can you get in a car, please? Yeah, it's that.
Okay.
It's one of those. If you gave me this gameplay out of context as its own thing, I'd go, yeah, this is fun. But you give it to me as a thing that says, no, you can't keep doing the fun thing that you like doing until you've done this.
Ooh.
It makes it feel like homework.
Oh dear.
I want to be leaping and flying across the city. No. You've got to drive a car before we'll let you do more of that.
Aww.
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't mind this if it was its own separate mode, but it's often used as a progression gate for getting further into the game.
Oh dear.
It's like, I would like to unlock new monsters. Not until you've shot these ones with a Gatling gun, you don't.
Aww.
But I like, sort of, no, use a Gatling gun. But I mean, look, those missions come up, I think, like, maybe, like, there's 7 of them total across the whole single player. I think there's less than that. Probably 4 or 5 total across the single player. If my biggest complaint is that, I'm having a great time with the game. I very much am enjoying this video game.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. You played anything else this week?
Oh, I built a Lego bonsai tree.
You did!
It's right there.
It's right there!
It's got 101 pink frogs on it.
Well, it's got 100 pink frogs and 1 brown frog.
And 1 brown frog.
Yeah, it's got 1 brown frog. It's how was the build process on that?
It was fun. It's unlike any other, obviously, unlike any other Lego set I've built before.
Yeah,
The weirdest bit was the bag of different like pips. And it was just like, the instructions is basically, here is a bag of pips, there are some other bags within the bag of pips, pour them all into the big bag, shake them together, and then pour them into the base, and that will be like your gravel on the bottom of the thing.
Which, it's a lovely effect now it's there, but I can see how that would be strange.
I'm very glad that it is here in your office instead of somewhere Smudge hangs out routinely.
Yeah.
Especially like pre-dinner, because she'll just get the hump and push it over.
Yeah. Also, like, I like that some of the parts aren't connected together. Like the pot that the bonsai is in isn't in any way connected to the base it's placed on top of. It's just sort of rubber feeted.
It's just got little rubber feeties.
Yeah, it's really nice. I like it.
It's really beautiful.
It's got a really. I really like how it brightens up the little corner of my office where it is.
It's got a little tree there.
Yeah, it's all made of frogs.
It's all made of frogs. There was an option to build it with like green. I was like, I want to build it with pink.
Oh, pink and white was the right choice.
Mm-hmm. And apparently the tree bits, the branch bits, the white branches and the green branches are the new plant plastic that Lego have been trialling.
Ooh.
So that's been nice to see that. That's come out. It's weird to think of, as Nick's pointed out, plants made of plants.
Plants made of plants.
It was a plant, and then it went through a whole process, and then we turned it back into a plant.
Yeah.
It's a mockery of its former life.
It is really lovely. I wasn't sure how I would feel about this until I saw it in person, and now I'm like, that's actually really nice.
Yeah. I was very much enjoying sort of having it sat in the middle of the table. It was just like, come dinner time, someone's just going to get angry with it
But
one
it's
day.
okay, because it means Quoops night. There's now just that little tree in the corner.
Tiny tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks more tree-like, sort of from a distance, and like especially lower down.
Yes, I think on the table below me is a good height for it.
Especially when you're building it, you get a lot of angles on it, and just think this doesn't look very much like a tree.
Yeah, but I think they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I think
Once
they've
it's
done a
in
good job.
place, it's
yeah, building like all the separate branches. And sort of having them come together in this sort of nicely spread out way.
Yeah.
Considering it's like, 9 bits of basically the same design?
Yeah, and I like that it's not too even in its design. I like that it sort of like favours one side a little bit, and
Yeah, it's got a good lean to it.
It's got a bit of a living thing feel to
Master Builder's done a good job.
it. Yeah, that's very nice. Would recommend.
Would recommend. Yeah, that was something else I got with that voucher of, basically you could only spend it on Lego.
I mean, there are worse things in the world.
I was hoping that I could use the rest of that voucher to try and get the bunch of flowers set.
Yeah.
But they are not available at my local Agus.
Oh no.
Indeed.
Well, I'll keep an eye out if they happen to appear at the Argus.
The only other thing I've done this week is also Lego related. I've been playing Lego The Force Awakens.
You have. You've been powering through that, and it's hundreds of characters.
Like 237 characters.
Too many characters.
Too many characters.
That character select screen, not only are the characters too small to see, but some of them flash back and forth between other character designs or lock symbols.
Yeah, because I might not have, like, a third version of Luke Skywalker yet. I know there's a Kylo Ren I don't have yet.
Looking at that character select screen hurts my brain.
It hurts my brain.
I don't like it.
I have to sit really close to that screen to try and understand it. Like, there are regularly times, like, where it's like, right, I need to find a Finn. Which one's a Finn? And because it's cycling through, I might confuse Finn with a stormtrooper. Or I might confuse Finn who is, like, just... He's also wearing a beige jacket, and he's a black guy with black hair, and he is, like, only, like, 2 down and 3 away from Lando. It's like, okay, from a distance it's really hard to spot them in this sea of rotating, changing...
From the distance that you play at, I couldn't tell who anyone was on that screen at all.
Yeah, I spent 10 minutes scrolling through trying to look for a Wampa tonight.
I think I recognised Chewie. I was like, oh, that's Chewie, and the rest of it was just...
There's a Chewie. Like, and you'd think you can go sometimes by colour, but it's like, oh, okay, now that I've unlocked more characters, there's like 4 different ones that are predominantly red. One of them is a giant smashy robot. Yeah, it's a lot to deal with unless you're sitting very close to the screen and able to pick it apart. There's been a few missions where I've had to, like, repeatedly do something just to get one final mini-kit, and that's never fun. Considering, like, the load times to, okay, now load out of the level, now load back into the level. Luckily, like, some of them will have, like, checkpoint systems, so if you know what part of the level a mini-kit you need is in, you can just do that bit and then save and quit.
Yay!
But, like, oh my god, it's taking forever.
Yeah.
Enjoying it. This is the first time I've been able to play. I've owned it for years. My old computer, like, I think I just completed Lego Movie, the game. And I was like, oh, another Lego game. So I was like, Force Awakens, the new one out, I'll get that. And it just, no, it was not keen to work on my system.
But you have a good
Even
PC
8x6. I do have a good system now, and it works fine, apart from the crashes and sometimes doing very weird things in certain story mode missions.
That's PC gaming, though.
That is PC gaming, but also, like, the game's been out, what, 5 years now, surely?
Yeah.
And also, thinking about, like, this particular version of Lego Star Wars and going, there's 237 characters in this. And then also thinking, the Skywalker Saga's coming out eventually.
Yeah.
What is the character select screen for that going to look like?
Unusable?
I mean, admittedly, like, this includes, the screen at the moment includes, like, a bunch of characters from Jabba's palace. It includes, like, all the bounty hunters. So that will probably be in, like, the Jedi section. There's a bunch of, like, classic Luke and Leia stuff from, like, the first 3 as well. So there's that. There's all the Carbonite ones. But I guess, like, in a Skywalker Saga version of that, you would have to cut some of that out.
Probably, I don't. I dread to think.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a horrifying concept of just how big that screen's going to be.
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll just be select screens based on the films. So what about you? Have you played anything else?
That's everything I've played this week.
Well then, time for this. Okay, so we're just getting things together. We've got a night of programming for the channel.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so we're going to do a whole I Love the 80s and 90s night.
Oh, how fun.
So I just want to, touch base with you, make sure we've got everything so far. So,
Let's see what we've got for the 80s. We've got some comedians that have not aged well.
Well, I mean, very few of them of that decade have, really.
Well, indeed, of course, we've got some light racism, some very strong xenophobia, especially against the French
Oh, yes.
and the Russians, because obviously the whole thing there was still
Yes.
very present. Let's see what else we've got. We've got mild homophobia.
I mean, it's more than mild in a few places.
Well, I mean, as in certainly in the 80s section, once we move into the 90s, it's strange that it gets more homophobic. Much more homophobic and weirdly more transphobic, like a lot more transphobic. We mentioned a few people wearing knickers
Knickers,
in the 80s, and now as we move into the 90s, we're going to mention Nazi transvestites a lot. Just a lot.
That seems like a very weirdly specific thing to suggest exists.
Can't understand it. I don't know what happened in the 90s, but I've watched so much 90s comedy recently, and it's a thing. I don't understand it. It comes up a lot. I don't know if there was some mention of something back then that slipped into the public conscious, but there it is. Maybe the Sport ran an article or something.
Yeah.
And, of course, one more thing as we move into the 90s. Instead of having one black person per series, we're trying to get one per episode.
I mean, that is better.
I love the 80s and 90s, nice.
Is this really the best you could find?
It's the best there is.
I suppose so.
It's a time that's romanticised. But no.
It's a time of great strife in the rebellion.
It was a dark time for the rebellion, yes.
Of course, I don't believe in all this climate change nonsense.
Of course not.
No. Of course, it's been awful news hearing about all the hurricanes happening.
Oh, goodness, yes. It didn't happen in my day.
No, we never used to get that when I was younger. It's awfully strange. There's been an awful lot of those hurricanes recently.
Oh, and those wildfires.
Oh, the wildfires. Last year was very wildfire heavy. It's unusual. It never used to happen when I was little.
Oh, same. And then there was the boiling heat, followed by that snow, followed by the flooding.
Yes, it was very strange how there was the very, very hot one day, and then it was a little bit cooler, and then it snowed immediately after that.
Indeed.
And then I think we've got like a few days of like low-level floods in certain areas.
Yes.
The floodplains all struggling a bit. Seem to be a lot wetter than they have been. The river broke its banks last winter.
Oh.
I never got that when I was younger.
The climate outside, it was changing rather rapidly.
It was. It's just. It seems to be just constantly in flux and very strange. It's not as. When I was younger, it was much more stable, but I don't understand it all.
No.
No.
Don't believe in that climate change nonsense.
Oh, ridiculous nonsense.
So, what have you put in your eyes this week?
My eye meats.
Yeah.
I watched an adorable animated thing about felt guinea pig cars
Oh, that was adorable.
called Pui Pui Molcar.
Pui Pui Molcar.
It's on Netflix, and sometimes they're guinea pig cars. Well, they're always guinea pig cars, but sometimes they make guinea pig noises.
Yeah, they're guinea pigs, but also they are cars, and sometimes people ride in them, and sometimes they're stop motion photograph people, but sometimes they are little action figure people.
Little plastic, like the kind you get for train sets, like
Very low detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the plastic seam around the edges.
Yeah, the
of them.
plastic base between the feet to make them
Mhm.
stand. This show is,
You can watch the whole series in about an hour.
yeah, gorgeously expressive and beautifully animated.
I love their little mouths when they do the surprised face.
Oh,
'cause
the
they look
surprise-
just like guinea pigs.
The surprise face is very good. It is like little 2-3 minute animated shorts, and I mean, look,
It's so charming.
there's nothing of any great substance to it, but it's just really delightful.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
adorable. There's like lots of little references to other shows. It's like a Back to the Future kind of episode.
I want to detail like one episode to be like, here's a sense of the kind of narrative depth you're gonna get here. there is a little guinea pig car who went on a bunch of Indiana Jones adventures, but he came back and he was very stinky and gross, so his friends are like, we've got to put you through the guinea pig car wash. And he doesn't want to, it's very scary, so they put a shiny golden carrot at the end, and they're like,
Give
look.
him a little map.
Yeah, they gave him a little treasure map. It's like, it's like the Indiana Jones thing. Go get the treasure, and goes through the car wash and has a big adventure.
And has amazing luscious locks at the other end.
Indeed, like that's the length, the kind of narrative you're getting, but it's
charming.
it's so well presented.
Mm-hmm.
It is clearly not an English language developed thing, but there is no spoken words in it, so like you might not know what the episodes are called because the on-screen text isn't translated. You don't need to know anything.
You spotted an Akira reference?
Oh yeah, there was a poster where it was Akira, but instead of the red motorcycle, it was a red guinea pig car. There's a lot of pop culture little nods in the background.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed the Anime Girl episode.
That was amazing.
Yeah. It's nonsensical,
It
but
makes
charming.
sense in its own weird, logically way.
Yeah. It's
The snow episode where they're all skidding around on the road.
yeah. It's if you're just after some like very light-hearted, wholesome like stuff that is technically impressive from an animation standpoint, it's worth your time to binge season 1.
Yeah. If you're the kind of person who likes charming cartoons, this is probably for you. If you are the kind of person with a large collection of stuffies, this is probably for you. If you're the kind of person who is baked out of their skull at 3 a.m, this is definitely the show for you.
Oh my god, you would have a good time watching this in the middle of the night, a little bit out of it.
Right? Imagine
Yeah.
this after a rave.
Oh, this would be
Let's
this
watch
would be
Pui Pui
perfect.
Molcar.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
You go, little Molcar.
Yeah. This would be great getting back at 7 in the morning and you're not ready to sleep yet viewing.
Yeah. I can't sleep.
That's fine, we'll put Pui Pui Molcar on.
Oh, they're so cute. and the little ambulance one.
Oh,
makes-
the one eating that bit of lettuce that one time.
And the one that gets abducted.
Oh no.
And it's so sad.
Oh. This... Go watch Pui Pui Molcar. Pui.
Molcar.
Yeah.
Except Molcar is the only bit that's one word.
Yeah.
All the other bits are separate words. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, what have you watched?
I've been watching concerts in VR.
I saw.
Yeah, I've been missing music. I've been missing live
Understandable.
music because it's been a year. Life's not getting back to normal anytime soon. I got a bit wistful. So I put my VR headset on and found some concerts because here's the thing. I'll sometimes pop, like live music recordings on my screen while I'm working. The thing is, I cannot focus solely on a performance of live music if it's on a screen because I will check my phone obsessively and do other things and multitask and not actually pay attention to it. Whereas the thing I love about live music is it's a couple of hours of just...
Bathed in music.
Yeah, be bathed in music, be surrounded by it, don't pay attention to the world, this is all there is right now. So,
That's why I can never understand people wandering around raves with their phones out.
Exactly. But here's the thing. There's not a lot of VR specific recordings of concerts, but you can kind of fudge the experience by opening up, say, YouTube VR, setting the screen size to be as large as possible and as close to your face as possible, and then make it a curved screen so it wraps around you.
There's got to be a decent number of 360 videos as well.
There's a decent number of 360 videos, but not a lot of full concert recordings in 360. But that's the thing. If you can find a good quality concert recording, you can kind of fudge the experience to make it fill your whole field of view, so you can look around a little bit and not see the edges of it.
Yeah.
There's a few actual recorded VR concerts. There's a wonderful one from 2018 where Watsky, who I've talked about on this show before, lots of spoken word poetry and rap over sort of rock energy music. Really great lyricist and performer. uploaded an entire 90-minute show on YouTube in VR. Did a really good job of setting the camera in such a position that you got a really good feel of being in the crowd. And yeah, honestly, just being able to put my headphones on and be like, for the next couple of hours, just to music. No, take this off to look at my phone, no, do anything else, just pay attention to music happening.
Or listen to music until the battery runs out.
Yeah, basically. And like that, I needed this. It's not a replacement for going and seeing live music, but it scratched that little bit of itch in my brain of, I need to just focus on and immerse myself in music is all I'm doing for a couple of hours. And VR really helps me to shut out distractions and other things my brain could go searching for. So I watched the Watsky performance and My Chemical Romance's Shrine LA reunion show from January 2020, and very much enjoyed both. And it's gotten me back in the mood of, you know what, I should just be using VR to enjoy the things that I've been missing during lockdown. Exactly. So we'll get to it in a minute, but there's another thing I've been putting in my eyes that I will, I think, later this week be doing in VR as well.
Ooh.
What about you? What have you put in your eyes?
I read volumes 3 and 4 of Ms. Marvel.
Oh, tell me about those.
I've had Ms. Marvel Volume 4 for ages. Somebody bought it for me ages ago, and I was like, I haven't got a 3. I got a bonus, so I invested in 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's nice to read more Ms. Marvel and sort of catch up with that story. Cause although Ms. Marvel, like some of the other Marvel comic volumes, tends to do the, hey, she was in this issue of some other thing.
Yes.
Do you want, we're going to shove an issue of that in the back of this comic book. It's like, also, first of all, you've taken the big story and you've stopped telling that thing.
Yeah.
So that you can take me over to an issue of Spider-Man where apparently I don't know a bunch of characters or like a lot of the continuity for this particular Spider-Man.
So I'm aware of the continuity of that story because that's from the Superior Spider-Man.
You said Amazing Spider-Man number 7, I think it was.
Is this the one where Doc Ock is Peter Parker?
Had been.
Oh, okay. So this is presumably after Superior Spider-Man then. Okay, I know nothing about this section. I know some bits of when he was Peter Parker.
I had to go and ask the potatoes in the Discord server, like, hey, who is this person with the Bayonetta websuit? It's Silk, apparently.
Yeah, this is the thing that will mean I will never properly get into comics, is I don't like the idea that I have to jump into one random issue of a comic that isn't the one I'm following to understand what's going on with the character who I am following.
I mean, that's why one thing I've particularly appreciated about Tank Girl comic books always, like, there's no one else she's going to be with. It's just you're going to read a volume and that's going to be a whole, like, 4-issue set to be a story, or, like, even Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, you'll generally get the whole story, and then sometimes they'll be like, hey, here's a story from fucking decades ago.
Yeah.
We'll like, it's a reissue of a very old episode. It doesn't matter.
Or, you know what I wish they would do in these kind of volume collections, if they're going to put those issues in, is do essentially what they did with fan-translated anime back in the day of translator's notes. Or here it would be like, yeah, look, just put a little bubble next to certain panels and go, this character who's just shown up, here's who they are and what their deal is. Just put little, like, helpful notation that is there for if you are coming to this blind.
Speaking of helpful notation, one thing I do appreciate about Ms. Marvel specifically is terms used by the family. Like, her brother will say something, or her mum will say something specifically, and it might be, I don't know if it's specifically about them being Muslim or about being Pakistani, but they'll use, like, a term or phrase.
Yeah.
And then there'll be like hey, this is what that means.
Yeah. I like her family so much.
Her family are lovely.
Yeah, now that you've made it up to where you're at, I love her family. Her family are great.
Like, even before that,
yes.
they're very sweet and very lovely, but now it's like, oh my god, I had no idea how good.
Yeah. In the Avengers video game that focused very heavily on her that released last year, her mum doesn't show up very much at all, but her dad shows up fairly frequently early
doesn't
on
he
in the
take
plot.
her to the Avengers?
Yes, to the Avengers sort of celebration day. And
I only know this from editing your videos.
yeah, he's lovely. He's good.
lovely.
It's a very nice interpretation of him in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Miss Marvel's good.
Miss Marvel is good. And I got to see Captain Marvel in a bit of that. It's like,
Yep,
oh my
yep.
god! I've not seen that suit before, but that was cool. I was like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
And I also like how Miss Marvel fangirls about like all of the other superheroes.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. It's almost Deadpool without quite being Deadpool.
Yeah.
If anything, slightly more endearing. Yeah, so it was nice to catch up with that. There are some big things going on in that story, and I kind of want to know what happens next. Will the world be saved?
Who knows?
Will New Jersey be saved at least? Because that's quite a thing for Captain Marvel to just turn up and go, yeah, no one's going to come and save New Jersey.
Yeah.
We're all busy.
It's-
We're all doing other things.
It's the thing you get a lot with some of the new superhero, the newer superheroes they've introduced. Like you get it a lot in Miles Morales stories. The like, hey,
You're the friendly neighborhood.
yeah, you are the friendly neighborhood. Protect your friendly neighborhood.
Mhm.
Like that kind of energy.
Yeah. Like, communism. Right, like, that's the thing though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
taking care of your local community rather than the big world-ending stuff. And, you know, for your community, that is big world-ending stuff.
Exactly. It's doing the protecting of your local community that perhaps the cops might not do. Go listen to season 8 of Dice Funk. Do it.
Have you got any others?
Yeah. So this is the other thing that I'm probably going to watch in VR later this week. I've been watching high quality YouTube upload videos of train journeys
Choo-choo.
because I've been missing traveling and trains, and I miss trains. So I've been watching just a lot of. I've been having on my other monitor just high quality videos of trains, such as 4K Japan train ride Enoden from Fujisawa to Kamakura, 4K 60 FPS, June 2020, which is a beautiful 45-minute train ride through Japan. Goes along the seafront briefly and goes through a lot of like very slowly between lots of houses, and it sort of then widens into the country. Very lovely video. I'm currently partway through watching Tokyo Metro journey that the person is currently filming switching lines on the train.
I did wonder why they were on an escalator.
Yeah, they got off one train, they're about to get onto another one to
It's a very
continue their
keen
journey.
escalator.
Yeah, I like train stations as well as spaces that have like an energy that I like. So I've just been watching videos of trains because I miss trains and I miss planes. So I'm probably gonna watch some VR videos of train journeys and just pop a podcast on and just be on a train looking around like choo choo. Yeah, there is a lot of videos of 360 videos from the pilot is not the word. Is that the word? Driver. The train conductor cabin of various trains, which is like those are pretty good. I specifically have been craving passenger perspective videos because I'm like, as great a view as you get from the conductor carriage ones, I'm specifically missing the energy of I am a passenger on a train. Yeah,
Can you not just look out the side window? Because usually they've got like a side door.
occasionally, but it's I don't know how to explain that it's not the same.
Yeah.
I am nostalgic for a very specific I am in this place.
I want a window seat.
Yeah, exactly. There is a specific place that I'm feeling nostalgic for, and it is being in a passenger section of a train. So I'm gonna try and find some good 360 videos from passenger seating in trains and just listen to a podcast and be on a train.
Nice.
Yeah. It's been that kind of a watched week. What about you? What are you putting your eyes?
I watched a couple of episodes of Waffles and Mochi.
What's Waffles and Mochi? Tell me about that.
It's a So there is a freezer or a land of frozen food and frozen people where all the food is frozen and the people are frozen. And Waffles basically seems to cook ice for most meals.
Yeah.
Ice served with ice, and Waffles is, I think they say that like Dad was a Yeti and Mum was a frozen waffle.
Yeah, which leads to some questions.
It does.
There is a picture painted there.
There is, and basically they're like, what if a very small Muppet Yeti, but with waffles for ears?
Yeah, wants to learn about foods.
Wants to learn about, well, basically wants to experience life. So one day, they encountered a frozen or a food delivery truck, and they decided to hitchhike on the back of the food delivery truck, and they ended up at the store where they met a nice shelf, and they met a bop and the intercom system, and then they went upstairs and they met Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama, who, now that she's not the First Lady, apparently just runs a grocery store somewhere.
Yep. Where she grows many of the vegetables in a roof garden.
That's pretty cool.
And has an assistant called Busy who is a bee. And they built the Magic Cart 3000, which is a flying, apparently faster than the speed of light shopping cart.
It's basically the excuse on Magic School Bus-esque adventures.
To learn about food and nutrition and stuff.
How food works.
How food do. And Waffles is ably assisted by Mochi, who is a little Mochi ball.
Just a very little happy Mochi. Yeah.
Who just sort of like... like, sometimes if you've got the subtitles on, Mochi actually says things, but it's very hard to tell most of the time.
I'm mainly aware of one thing about this show. This show has an opinion about what you should do to your parents.
Oh, yes. Always listen to your vegetables and eat your parents.
Yeah, Michelle Obama's in a show that tells you to eat your parents.
Eat your parents.
Eat your parents, children.
the Muppet Intercom told you to eat your parents. Now you've got to do it.
I mean, look, always listen to children's programming.
Right.
It's educational.
Right? So the first episode is about tomatoes and how they are a botanical fruit and a culinary vegetable.
Ah, yes. Which section of the supermarket do you put it in? Do you put it with the fruits or the vegetables?
I won't spoil it, but they have some conclusions about where that belongs. The second episode was about salt and how not to salt.
Ah, yes. A tiny bit of salt to a sweet thing for taste can be good.
But pouring an entire packet of salt over a cookie is gonna taste bad. Make your tongue sad. And there's like a whole cartoon animated world in Mochi's mouth.
It's Inside Out, but for taste buds.
Yeah. Salt is very happy with all the salt. If anything, salt is glowing. Sweet, however, is nothing from this cookie. Making sad. So they go on an adventure and they try all the different types of salt, and then they realise that moderation is the answer. Have you got anything else?
No, I think that's everything I've watched this week.
I watched one other thing, or a couple of episodes of one other thing. I watched some Ghost City.
Tell me about Ghost City.
It's about a group of young people, and they are basically ghost hunters. But instead of being like, oh, we're going to go and bust some ghosts, they're like, we're going to help some ghosts understand, and people who are being haunted, and try and understand the things, so that, you know, we will help people out and have adventures. It's shot in an almost sort of documentary style.
Yeah.
Like, the kids are reporting, like, reading into a hairbrush. There's interviews with the ghosts, where it's like one of those little kids, like a wired mic, like a little red telephone cord mic, wired up to like a big plastic cassette recorder. It's kind of adorable.
You know what this had vibes of?
The
Midnight Gospel.
Yes, that was the show.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
got vibes of a children's version of the Midnight Gospel, but instead of positing on sort of big grand questions about the nature of reality, they're positing on the nature of life in specific areas in LA and sort of the different cultural hubs and different cultural backgrounds of people from different areas,
Mhm.
but it's got that same sort of energy of the way people talk about things that are very clearly like, this is someone talking about their real life lived experience in a very personal way,
Yeah.
set within a cartoon framework to get there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching. I was like, this is very Midnight Gospel. I just couldn't, in the moment, remember what the name of the show. Yeah, it has that sort of, like, interviews style, like it came from something else and then they just whack the animations over the top.
Yeah.
But I don't think it can be.
I get the impression that this is the episodes probably started with interviewing a specific person who had a story they wanted to tell about part of the story of, say, like Venice Beach and the sort of skater scene there, and then we're like, okay, what story can we build that lets us get to this interview segment? It's a lovely little show there.
Yeah, and much like Waffles and Mochi, it was nice to see certainly a show full stop, but a kids show that wasn't predominantly white.
Also, non-cis cast member
We had somebody who ears perked up at that person has just been very definitely referred to as they them.
Yeah, they introduced themselves as using they them pronouns.
I think I just heard I went off to cook dinner or something, and you were still sitting in there. I had heard that person mentioned. I think their name is Thomas, and it was like they them. I was like, they've referred to that person in a way that suggests that they use they them pronouns, and I am really here for that. But yeah, it's nice that was sort of formally introduced as like, hey, this is that character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, hey, there are some people of colour in this show, and it's not like half white people and half people of colour. There is a good spectrum of people, and it's nice to see that it's not white. It's not a default in these shows.
Indeed. It uses these ghosts as a really nice opportunity to talk about, like, the non-homogeneous aspects of the cultural identity of specific areas.
Yeah. It's a kind of a sweet story. I would like to watch more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that is Ghost City. That is also available on Netflix.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else?
No, I've not got anything else.
Well then.
So for this.
No, we've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you remember last year?
Yes,
Nearly a year ago.
It's
now.
hard to forget last year. Last year is very memorable.
What about last year too? The sequel.
Regrettably, we are here. Yes.
Well, maybe you remember a whole thing that Rishi Sunak came up with, the whole eat out to help out, which I thought was about lesbianism, but apparently not.
Oh, were we not helping out by doing that?
I was helping you out. You were helping me out.
But apparently, we weren't helping the COVID-suffering population out.
Helping the economy out. Apparently.
Oh, well, that's a disappointment to hear.
Apparently so.
But yes, I remember Eat Out to help out.
What about Eater Outer to help her outer?
Oh no.
It's like Die Harder.
Yeah, no, I
think more people will be dying.
I think people will be dying harder.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes.
What? Why? No, don't bring that back.
But the economy.
I mean, it very clearly was related to a huge spike in COVID cases.
The economy needs your help. Only you can help them by getting out and eating at a discount. Probably not 50% this time, like 30 or something. Come on, eat out, help out, eat out, save the economy. Please visit our filled buildings to remove your masks and do capitalism. 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 Capitalism.
Enter the code Q and PS 162 on eat out to help out to eater outer .lol.net.gov.uk and you can get 30% off any eat-in restaurant when they're open again.
That's just wait until you've been vaccinated so soon.
And even then, inside the boardroom of Electronic Actor Softworks.
Hi.
Hi.
So, got a bit of a problem.
Yeah, my emails have been lighting up.
I know. You know, we released that game that we do not have the legal right to release.
Yeah, but we kind of almost did for a while there.
Yeah, and like, you know, I'm pretty sure if we just release it here in the US, it's not good. No one's gonna stop us.
No one's gonna know, right? If we release it in, like, you know, like Target or somewhere like
Yeah, exactly. No one's gonna notice. It's not even
Walmart.
in gaming stores.
Barnes
But, like,
and Noble.
Exactly. But here's the problem: there's journalists emailing me, asking me questions.
Yeah, I've had a lot of this. What
Yeah.
is this journalist about?
Yeah, so they want to ask questions about the legal situation of the game that we definitely aren't legally allowed to sell.
Ooh. Well, I mean, we don't want to say anything because obviously at that point we have taken a legal position.
Exactly, and
That's
like
a
you know,
paper trail. That's
exactly.
premeditated.
And like, I want to sort this somehow. I want to get them to stop asking me questions because I don't like having difficult questions asked. That's tough. I don't like it.
Okay, how can we bribe them as cheaply as possible? Have you offered them like a $20 gift card to our MOBA or something?
Oh no, I tried. They weren't interested. So I tried offering digital copies of the game. I started with like, you know, a reasonable number, like 5.
Yeah.
Then I went up to like,
5.
you know, 30 when they wouldn't stop emailing.
30 seems a good number.
Yeah.
That should be able to, like, how many can they have in their community, right?
Exactly.
30, that's probably everyone. They'll give
Exactly.
everyone a copy, everyone will love them.
Yeah.
They'll get more clicks.
We'll throw
They'll be
them
happy.
some physical copies as well, just, you know, because
Sure.
the fewer physical copies we have in the office, the less likely we are to be legally culpable.
Oh,
Like,
exactly.
Really, we
If
want
the
to get
police
them
turn up, it's like,
Yeah.
we don't have
We
any.
didn't make a video game. Can you find one here?
What is video game?
We are a
We've sacked
textiles.
everybody who makes
Yeah, we're a textiles company. That's believable, right?
tech something.
Yeah. We try and offer them money, but I mean, like, not in a way that seems like a bribe.
Not
Like-
in a way that costs us money,
Yeah,
per se.
a way that like somehow we still make money, but that we still give them money, but it's not technically a bribe.
So it costs us like 5 cents a game to
Yeah,
knock
'cause-
this shit out and
Yeah.
then print it on a physical thing. So how about we offer them like a percentage on physical versions?
You
We'll
give-
offer them like an affiliate link.
Yeah, give them an affiliate link, but like one that's like big enough that it's clear this is
Shut up money.
shut up money.
Yeah.
Do you want a whole $10 every time someone buys a video game you had no part in making?
Yeah, I
That's-
mean, we still make a good amount of money. out of it.
Exactly, and
We've
you know,
exploited
it's
everyone else
not-
way down the
Exactly,
chain.
it's not technically a bribe. They just sold some products and made some money, you know.
Yeah, come live like us execs. We make a
Exactly.
shit ton of money for work we barely did.
Exactly. I mean, all of these are good ideas, so long as we don't do the other idea of answer their question.
We know. I have been told, I've literally in my earpiece just now been told by my lawyers, no.
No.
Just no.
No.
So, what have you put in your ears?
What have I put in my ears?
In your ears?
I put in my ears, not my brother and me this week. Have you listened to the thing that comes in its place?
Nope.
The new Appalachian Workshop featuring the McElroys but not Griffin.
I saw this as a thing. I assumed Justin was having a laugh about something.
Okay, so I don't think it's a spoiler to say this. This is presented as being a TV show pilot that they tried to pitch a few years ago, for a woodworking show.
Right.
And it very quickly becomes apparent that this was never a TV show that existed. This is a joking excuse for a woodworking themed episode of My Brother and Me that only exclusively answers woodworking questions.
Okay, because Justin does woodworking now.
Yes, it's amusing and funny. It has, for a one-off gag, it has its own theme tune, and it's quite great.
Okay.
Yeah, it paints an interesting picture of what My Brother and Me might end up like now that Yahoo Answers is dying.
Yeah.
It is a fun little spoof. I like that it doesn't take very long at all to drop the facade. It didn't leave it. It lifted the curtain quickly enough that I didn't feel duped or misled by the premise too much, which is always nice. Yeah, that was a fun listen this week.
Mm.
What about you?
I listened to what I think is the final episode of Margaret's Garden.
Ooh.
Episode 9. They got to the
end.
What felt like
state?
the end.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know where they can go from this if this isn't the end, unless they're going to be like, and those agents go on other adventures.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, you are sort of dropped in with Margaret's Garden. In the first episode, like, there are 2 people, they're of this agency, one of them is new, and, like, they do talk kind of casually about, you know, gods and giants and monsters and all sorts of things. And there's never really clarified at all. In the last episode, they mentioned something and I'm like, oh, of course! Of course that's who they work for. Why didn't I work that out?
Yeah.
But yeah, they name drop a particular organisation. I was like, well, of course they do. Yeah, I think overall that was an interesting story. It's a difficult listen in places because it deals a lot with colonialisation.
Ah.
Is that the right word? Colonialism. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or colonisation, rather than yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's that. There's the fact that, as far as I can tell, there's like 1, maybe 2 black cast members, and obviously we are dealing with like I've mentioned. It's not a huge spoiler to say that this is basically post World War II. These brothers come back from the war. One of them has somehow mystically received this book, and I think there are suggestions about how that might have happened within the story. Like, think I know where the book came from and how, and then that is sort of feeds into this whole thing of, hey, we're going to build a city. We're going to build a little gated community town, and it's full of white people.
I mean, as it would be in that time period.
1940s white people.
Yeah.
Americans, wholesome apple pie, who, when they first went to this whole other world, they took a version of the town to another dimension.
Okay,
And for a while, they were receiving, like, television and radio broadcasts through.
Yeah.
But they were getting very upset because it's not good, wholesome, good American
Indeed.
stuff.
The world is changing, and it's not like it is here in our bubble.
Yes, and they were very unhappy about that.
Yeah.
And there may be more to that as well. I don't really want to explain, but like there is a lot of the episodes where it's like, oh, these people just came to this place and just fucked up everything. Like there's a lovely rhino person who runs a hotel, and bad things happen. There's like all of the local community people, like bird people and sort of half animal people, because they're not human enough. They're basically being hunted for food or research purposes or something, or they're just being hunted to keep them out of the nice gated community.
This feels like a lot.
It is an awful lot, especially when like you've got these 2 agents from this group. You've got the young new upstart and the sort of grizzled, like feels like at any minute she might go, I'm just a week away from retirement. She is, as far as I can tell, the only specifically black character, because obviously she's the only person from our time that's come through into this other dimension. And I feel like a lot is put on that character to be like, that is bullshit. This thing that you are doing here is all bullshit and bad. It's an interesting show. I enjoyed my time with it, but there are points in that show where it's just like, this is a difficult
It's a heavy listen.
It's a heavy listen. Have you listened to anything else?
I listened to a couple of songs this week. Shall I rattle them all off in
Tell
one
us
go?
the songs.
I listened to a track called Never Really Good at Sports by a band called Sledding with Tigers. It is a banjo and violin driven folk rock track about self-loathing and trying to learn to love yourself with the joy and enthusiasm that you love others with. There is a track called The Best Ever Death Metal Band in Denton by Laura Jane Grace. It is a sort of acoustic punk track focused on the kind of music that, like, teens make in their bedroom with no proper band name, having never played a show, never going anywhere, but making things for themselves and others.
Yeah.
That it is a track about the joys of shitty teenage bedroom music making.
I love shitty teenage bedroom music making.
I mean, yeah, same.
The number of times I've listened to you and your band
Yeah,
doing covers of MCR.
yeah,
It's glorious.
Look,
There is a furious passion to, like, we don't care how bad we are, we're just gonna play with just so much heart.
the thing is, you can power through a lack of talent with enough passion in that kind of setting, and, like, 100% go back and listen to that Na 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 cover. You can tell what it is we're playing 100%.
Yeah.
We may not be playing it by the book, but we are getting
don't
it.
care.
We're getting it across.
I have on occasion gone, I want to listen to Na Na Na, but I want to listen to that version. And then I usually listen to it on repeat, because just there's something about it's like going and watching a live band at, like, a slightly divey metal bar.
Oh, yeah.
Just like hey, we might not be the band that we're covering, but we are going to play the shit out of this song.
I am a lot less embarrassed about my teenage music making than I once was, in that, like, where I used to be very self-conscious about the technical quality of the playing we were doing, over the years I've just come to love, like, hey, we were really fucking passionate and we had a great time, and you can hear that we're having a good time in the music, and that's nice.
That's what I really like about it. I am glad that in all the time that you never did the whole thing of, oh, that's too cringe and too bad, I'm going to delete it.
No, and there's more of it out there somewhere. I need to track down the other tracks. Yeah, I need to track him down. There was a really nice cover that we did of The Only Exception by Paramore that was lovely. It was wonderful. But yeah, I enjoy a good track about, like, shitty teenage fucking just thrash it out music.
Yeah.
And I listened back to a track I haven't listened to in years called A Sadness Runs Through Him by the Hoosiers. This was off of the album that the Hoosiers did when, like, that had Worried About Ray and stuff on it. Do you remember this band?
I know the name, I cannot think of any of their tracks off the top of my head.
Worried About Ray was the big one that people will probably know, but it was off that same album. They had a track called A Sadness Runs Through Him. It's a really bittersweet track about beautiful works made by people with depression, and how people often romanticize that from the outside and assume that the depression made the art and that it was needed to create, rather than going, no, that person created that art. We shouldn't romanticize the fact they're depressed or expect them to stay depressed because we think that's the only way they can create.
In spite of the depression, we did a thing.
Yes, indeed, as opposed to, look at this depression-fueled art.
Oh, let us romanticize this beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful sadness.
It's a very interesting just observation of the way that people really, really overbuild the importance of depression in art.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What you listened to this week?
Oh, I listened to a couple of things. I listened to an album by The Warriors called You or Someone You Know.
That's one of the ones that I listened to a track from recently on Quips, I think.
Yes.
Tell me about this album.
It was a good album. Basically, I was, like, really hankering for some metal.
Yeah.
I'm really hankering for some metal, so I googled queer metal. And most of the places were going, we don't do queer metal. and basically I found a whole forum of people being like, where queer metal? Where can I find queer metal? And lots of people going, no, all the things you hate about metal, about it being, like, predominantly white guys, being a bit edgy and very often problematic, or talking about colonialism in some glorified way, or talking about war in some glorified way. Don't mind the Satan aspect, that's fine, as we've proven recently with Lil Nas. And somebody sort of pointed out that, like, hey, if you'd prefer some punk, queercore is a whole thing. You can go listen to some queercore. So I googled a list of queercore and found, like, a video by The Warriors, and I was like, that looks like a fun video. So I went to their Bandcamp and I listened to You or Someone You Know. Unfortunately, that was nearly a week ago, and I cannot tell you which tracks I particularly enjoyed out of this.
Well,
I think Big Feelings was one of the ones I particularly enjoyed, and the End of the World, which is the first track on there.
as someone that enjoyed the one track of theirs that I stumbled upon, I think last week or the week before on Quops, if you also enjoyed their album, go check out the Warriors.
Go check out the Warriors.
We
There was
both have enjoyed some of their music.
there is a good selection of their stuff available on the Banded Camp. Yeah, I think they've got it's like 7 or 8 albums and some singles.
Nice.
Go check them out. Yeah, have you listened to anything else?
That's everything I've listened to.
Last thing I've listened to then this week is the new show from Rusty Quill. Because I don't know if you know, the Magnus Archives has ended.
I am, as it turns out, aware.
So they're doing a new podcast that's a bit weird.
Okay.
Not necessarily horror. I mean, I suspect there will be some horror involved. It's a show called Inexplicables.
Okay.
Without spoiling too much, it is the story of 2 people who are apparently a bit broken by their lives. The daughter is clearly an alcoholic, is having some troubles maintaining a home life. Like, she gets kicked out of the home within the first scene of the episode. And the son appears to be having some problem, possibly with the Financial Conduct Authority. I could be wrong. And is avoiding things. They're both avoiding phone calls. They're both avoiding huge chunks of life.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the daughter is now carrying a lot of things in a bag and a chair. Their mum has died. And they are going to the funeral, and I think the rest of the show is very much going to revolve around what their inheritance is. Their mum ran this charity called ICS that was very well thought of in the local community, and there seems to be some resentment from the kids because there was some kind of bigger inheritance from somewhere else, or I think from their dad dying or something. And mum basically invested everything into this charity. And they're like, grr, charity. And there is something unusual about the nature of the charity itself. I will not do spoilers. I am fascinated, but if you are easily offended by a lot of bad language, considering, Magnus Archives had maybe a swear per season.
To be clear, we're talking swearing and crude language. We're not talking offensive language.
Just swearing.
Okay. I hear offensive and I'm like, oh god, what are we getting in for here?
Some people can't handle quite as many fucks as I can.
Okay. There's a lot of fucks and shits.
There's a lot of fucks. And we're zooming into that territory ourselves. Yeah, it's an interesting show. I want to know where it goes. At the moment, it seems a bit depressed. Well, for most of the first part of the series, I was it sounds like depressed posh kids.
Right.
And much like Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, I struggle to care about spoiled rich kids having a bad time. But by the end of the episode, I was like, okay, I will come back and see where this goes. I might not cancel that Patreon immediately. Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. Don't want to spoil too much. I would recommend listening to it, and we will probably talk about it more in this episode. Oh, not this episode,
on this podcast
show.
here.
On this podcast, tune in another time to hear more things. That is everything I've listened to.
That's everything I've listened to.
Well then.
Time for this. Good evening, and welcome to another brand new episode of Neurodiversity Roulette. In today's episode, welcome to our special guest player.
Hi.
Tell us a little about yourself.
I'm very nervous to be here.
That makes sense. Let's spin the neurodiversity wheel and let's see what symptoms you're gonna have to deal with today. Overwhelming physical anxiety. Do you want to spin the wheel again and see if you can get that one little spot that'll make it all go away, or maybe you're gonna get some more things going on? Do you want to risk it?
Anything to make you go away, please.
You've got overwhelming sensory issues today.
If you could just keep it down a little bit, this is very much. This is too much. There's lights and like all the studio and the audience, and you're very close to me, and I can feel breathing.
Okay, let's give it one more spin of the wheel. Oh. This has literally never happened on the show before. You have landed on healthy coping mechanisms that will help you get through the day in a very, very healthy manner.
Oh, I'm managing. I'm not better, but I'm managing.
Ugh, goodness. As we landed on this space, I am legally obligated to give you some mental health support, so, go enjoy not being on this sensory hell of a game show and having some proper mental health support.
Bye. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Are you just happily getting on with things in your own way?
Yeah, no one's interrupting me. I'm having a great time getting on with life.
Enjoying your own little community?
Yeah, just over here doing my own thing, unbothered.
Creating your own thing, completely unbothered by anyone else?
I've got my little pocket of the internet. I'm not bothering anyone.
Try unasked for white man's opinion.
Oh no.
Not to be rude or anything, but everything you do isn't good enough. And this white man is here to give all the unasked for opinions to make it better.
Oh, can I say no to that, please?
I mean, you can, but they're very, very fragile. And they will call you some slurs.
Oh no.
Unasked for white man's opinion. It's coming, whether you like it or not.
Just let me play Animal Crossing in peace.
Actually...
You're supposed to terraform your island more than that.
Actually, you should probably wear a different top than that. I find your top disturbing, and all your content's very bland.
Questions, Sam. Time for questions.
What's the questions?
You know how last week I was like, that week we did an efficient episode?
Yeah?
Oh, so efficient.
Yeah.
We got through that. We did all the things. There wasn't many breaks.
Yeah.
Even between... I completely forgot that I'd put out a question thread.
I assumed you'd deliberately not done a question thread for some reason.
I had deliberately put a question thread. I had gathered all the questions and I just completely forgot to do it.
Ah, well.
So here are the questions. Sorry everyone for the delay. Tricky asks, why did Lil Nas kill the devil? Isn't that super rude after a lap dance?
I mean, look, you can only have one person that powerful in hell, and I think we can all agree Lil Nas is the most powerful being to exist.
I think so. Also, I think the point possibly you made was that Lil Nas also plays the devil in this.
Indeed.
So he killed the devil in himself? Question mark?
Question mark? Yeah.
And that is an important thing in moving forward?
Yeah, it's stepping forward into the role that has been ascribed to you, but doing so yourself and sort of claiming power from that.
Yeah. You're going to hell. Okay. But I'm doing it my way, and I'm in charge.
Or you could read this as Bayonetta, and the sexy lap dance was a distraction to do a murder. This Lil Nas is Bayonetta. There you go.
Mm-hmm. The hash slinging slasher 1312.
Nice.
It's true.
Yeah.
1312. Opinion on ice crunching.
Oh.
I used to do it when I was younger and angrier.
Yeah.
I would sit there and crunch ice, aggressively.
I have always been I will suck on a piece of ice until it's completely melted. I'm not a big crunch person.
I'm not a big crunch person. It always makes me feel uncomfortable, but I used to do it to show off, maybe.
I have paranoid thoughts about I'm going to crunch through the ice and then my teeth are going to be going too fast because I just crunched through something very hard and they're going to hit each other and all my teeth will shatter.
Fair enough.
Paranoia!
Larry Yallingenby asks, Would you kill the devil for some super hot shoes?
Oh, 100%. I'll kill the devil for anything.
Anything. Take that, the devil.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do with some ice cream. Kill the devil.
Chris Larmouth asks, Snog, marry, kill, but for cryptids?
Okay.
You're gonna need some cryptids. Loch Ness Monster.
Oh.
Bigfoot.
Mothman.
Mothman.
Okay, Mothman is the best of the three. Mothman got that
Snog
ass.
or marry?
Ask the question. I reckon marry Mothman
Mhm.
because not only dad ass, but also Mothman supposedly has the power to see through time, which would probably be useful and helpful. Right? I would fuck the Loch Ness monster. Just because very wildly different to any other sexual encounter I could have.
Yep.
Very mysterious. It'd be like, hey, look, if this is just going to be fuck and then never see each other again,
You expect that from the Loch Ness Monster, like
exactly,
elusive, right?
yeah, like the Loch Ness monster is elusive. If I fucked Bigfoot and then Bigfoot never called back, I'd feel kind of sad. I'd feel a bit like, oh, did I do something wrong? Nessie,
So instead, we kill Bigfoot.
yeah, like Nessie, I expect to like fuck and then never see again, but like
You'll always have that magical moment.
exactly. But Bigfoot, I gotta kill you. You're not marriage material, and you're not one fuck material.
You're just a tall, hairy bloke. Okay, the Kraken. Trying to think of other cryptids now. Slender Man.
And oh gosh, the Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil. Is the Jersey Devil basically like a Tasmanian devil?
No, but sure.
It was a video game with like a purple guy.
Oh, I did not know Jersey Devil was the name of a video game.
Yes.
Sure. Okay, the Jersey Devil from the Jersey Devil video game.
Can I see a picture? Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a cool looking video game that I may have played briefly once. So Kraken, Jersey Devil, or Slender Man.
Okay, that's what the Jersey Devil's actually meant to look like. Apparently,
it's like a winged goat.
yeah, like a winged goat.
Okay. I mean, that feels. I would marry the Kraken.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck the Jersey Devil.
Okay,
Kill Slender Man.
that makes sense.
I mean, the Slender Man, like, static. Yeah, we get it. Weird noises behind me. Like, I'm paranoid and jumpy enough as it is.
yeah,
Like, you can walk into a room and I'll leap 6 feet in the
Yeah.
air.
whereas like, hey,
I'm just very anxious.
flying goat. Sure, why the fuck not?
Yeah, flying goat, like, cool, we had a time.
This happened. You've flown off into the sunset. It
I'm
is what
glad
it
you were
was.
sentient, because otherwise this would have been very weird. And wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There we go. That's the whole thing there.
Have we got any other questions?
Yes. Dungeon Owl asks, new Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Yes.
I'm very into them. I know some people are disappointed with the visual style being sort of chibi and retro rather than like. I think what a lot of people were expecting was a Pokemon Sword and Shield level presentation or mimicking that. Because that's the past track record of how the Pokemon Company has done things. They've used the art style of the most recent mainline game to do their remakes. It makes sense because this is a very specific situation. They are trying to have an offhand new team develop the remakes so that the main team can be focused on something big, ambitious, experimental. Right now, I think it was this or get no Diamond and Pearl remake because they're basically trying to teach the main Pokemon team how to make an open world RPG, and all of you who have been begging for an open world Pokemon RPG and for that to be the direction the series goes in, hey, guess what? The price that you've paid on the monkey's paw for that is that you get a chibi Diamond and Pearl remake made by a secondary team. I think it looks great, but like that's why you're getting this, is so that you can get the big budget thing you've begged for decades for.
It did seem like a lot of people wanted a Diamond and Pearl remake.
Yeah, it's the right age that a lot of people who, like, it was their first Pokemon game have had just long enough to get nostalgic for it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
I mean, we've just had the yellow.
yeah,
So I mean, Did we get a Silver and Gold remake at any
Yeah,
point?
on the DS, Heart Gold and Soul Silver came, and then on the 3DS there was Ruby and Sapphire remakes.
Okay.
So, like, they've been working through the remakes, and this is the next one that people were hoping for. Look, it still looks better than the Ruby and Sapphire remakes did, and, like, it's the nicest looking previous gen remake you've had in that regard. Just be happy that they're doing it this way so you get your big open world RPG.
Final question comes from Phoenix. Hi, Phoenix.
I think it's
They ask. Come on, phone. Twist round. What fruits do you prefer the juice drink, or fizzy version of? Do you have a fruit that can you can have in any format? E.g., they prefer apple as a juice, strawberry as a dilute drink, and guava as a fizzy pop.
Apple as a juice rather than a squash. Blackcurrant as a squash rather than a juice. Orange as a squash rather than a juice. What was the other option? Squash, juice,
Fizzy.
and fizzy. Ooh, what I prefer in fizzy.
Mango.
Oh, mango as a fizzy. Yeah. Cherry as a fizzy. No, not a fan.
The only good cherry drink is cherry Pepsi Max.
I like a good, cheap, nasty cherryade. I know it tastes kind of like fucking cough syrup, but
I don't mind cherryade as a mixer for red wine, but I'm the kind of savage that will mix cherryade and red wine. So,
blueberry as a fizzy.
don't think I've ever had blueberry.
Oh, blueberry's a good flavour for fizzy.
I don't really like blueberry as a fruit, so.
Uh,
But I don't like cherries as a fruit.
Pineapple as fizzy.
Okay, yeah.
I think a lot of the
as
citrus.
long as it's not too sweet.
Yeah, a lot of the citrus flavours as fizzies. Like lemon as a fizzy.
Yeah, but I will have lemon squash and lemon juice as well.
Yeah.
I like all the lemons on them.
You got any more of these to throw in?
I like apple as a squash. I've recently discovered. I've always been like, nope, why would I do that? I've never tried it, but I don't want to. And then recently I was like, you know what, I'm going to get some. I was like, I mean, it's less sugary apple juice, and apple juice is very sugary.
See, I will have apple squash. It's fine. To me, it either, like, I don't know how to get the balance of apple squash right.
Okay.
That it tastes right,
Like the
because
good mix.
it either is too watery or it's too syrupy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find a good mix, and I like apple juice straight as it comes. It's already good, like a regular apple juice, a cloudy apple juice, apple squash,
cider.
Maybe I'm just not doing it right, but it feels like there's a very thin margin of error for your strength on it.
Well, okay, then let's span these fruits one further place. As an alcoholic beverage.
Oh, as an alcoholic beverage. Cherry as an alcoholic beverage. Like, cherry alcoholic beverage mixed with, like, a lemonade or something can be really nice.
Like a Purple Rain.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh.
Berry cider.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
cherries and berry cider.
Berries and cherries
is
is the good cider flavour. Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh, pears as alcohol.
Like a perry.
Yeah, I would rather like a pear cider than a pear juice.
Yeah, or indeed a pear fruit.
Yeah.
I grew up with a pear tree in the back garden, so like pears and milk was a quote-unquote treat. But generally, like, pears are either very, very hard, because they're not properly ripe most of the time, or they are absolute squishness. And
again,
not a great texture.
Very thin line of edibility.
Yeah, they have a moment.
Did you find the 20 minutes in which they were perfect?
Multiple occasions. When you've got a tree in the back garden, it's a case of, can I rescue them before the birds eat them? You get a good squishy fruity one, and that's quite nice to eat. But they have this weird bitty texture to them. It's never quite smooth, and it's like, no.
Well, I think that'll do it for questions.
It will.
Well then, time for this.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social justice warriors.
Social justice warriors.
Yeah.
All right, Larry.
All right, Barry. How you doing?
The anniversary-ness is really
Yeah.
digging in hard, are you, honest, mate?
I am aware. I am there. It's happening.
It really is.
We're getting to that point where have you seen a lot of companies are starting to talk about getting people back in the office.
Oh, yeah. My own company is certainly one of them. I'm
Yeah.
going to be back in there doing that thing with them boxes.
Oh goodness, yeah. It is ridiculous because there is no reason that it needs to be mandatory to bring everyone back into the office. You know.
Well, their landlords are probably still charging them for the office space.
They are.
Landlords destroying capitalism.
Oh, indeed. But, that they are paying the same for the office space, whether you are using up that chair or not, or whether you're here, and, this year has proven that the world will not collapse if people are allowed to work from home.
Yeah, but, how will the managers manage to, swing their corporate dicks around?
Well, exactly. Like,
Make sure people are, really stuck in there in work.
I honestly feel like most of it is people with job titles like supervisor,
Ooh.
whose entire job is be physically present and micromanaging, which is more difficult to do when you are not in the same physical location as them.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly
Yeah.
that is like a whole thing.
There's a whole thing. I think a lot of it is feeling like you've not got control over your workers. There's not the constant threat of me walking around the corner and seeing what you're doing with work time. How do I know you're working?
Yeah.
I really, really, really hope that, maybe this is a futile hope, but I really hope that companies continue to allow certain workers who would benefit from it to work from home, because it would be a real shame if this year was the only time that people had accommodations made that were helpful to them.
It's been a great year, I imagine, for, various neurodiverse types of people to find that they're not having to deal with the constant threat of someone might walk up behind them.
Yeah.
Whether or not that is involved in their work or not, just the presence that someone's not, just behind them or over their shoulder or near them in a way that they find uncomfortable. All the people who, struggle to be in loud office environments, perhaps, finding that they've been able to control things a bit more because they've been, able to stay at home. And then, of course, there's, just the managers going, oh, well, that's an issue. I don't like it. I need to be able to monitor you at all times. And perhaps they're feeling a bit small and they need that little bit of power back.
Yeah.
Virtual. Good on, mate. Good on.
Good.
Well, I think I might get an early night, mate.
Yeah, same.
Well, sleep well.
Sleep well.
So, Laura,
Yes.
where can we find you on the internet, darling?
Laura K. Buzz in all the places. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon. That's the one that pays the bills. I do little TikTok videos every now and then. You can find me Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Twitch streaming over at twitch.tv/LauraKBuzz. You can find me every Friday on YouTube, uploading episodes of Accessibility, which is a show all about accessibility in the games industry. Every Monday, I do the closed captions for the Gymquisition, which goes up on YouTube. I've got books. Uncomfortable Labels, it's about being an autistic trans woman, it's out now. Things I Learned from Mario's Butt, it's about video game character butts, it's out now. Gender Euphoria, that comes out on June 10th, 2021. It is an anthology of non-cis people's positive gender-affirming stories. That's real soon. It's less than 2 months away now. It's rapidly approaching. I bought a bunch of new pens with which to do signing, because I'm going to have to sign a lot of books. So that's coming out soon. Also podcasts. Pixel Squirt, this is about video game character pornography. Podquisition, where we tell you whether your favourite video games are great or perfect. Dice Funk, which is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition real play podcast. Every season's its own self-contained story, so you can jump into any season. I'm on seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm also on a podcast with you that isn't this one.
It's Polyamory. It's
Yeah.
a D&D 5th edition real play podcast with questionable morals. We have lots of fun. We've just had another episode with Trash Boy and Mittens, and the team have gone off to a town full of tabaxi and musical productions.
I
of
know
sorts.
where we're at.
You're in Felixstowe. Because it was the only cat town I could think of in a hurry. Yeah. We also have. I also make music under the name Bedroom Programmer. There is a separate SoundCloud for that, but I have a SoundCloud specifically for Polyamory and the program and this, where you might be listening to this now. We've got a Facebook group. I've got a Redbubble where I design t-shirts. StoneMonkeyRadio.blog where I write predominantly about video games and board games. I've got a YouTube channel, which is mostly VODs of my Twitch streams and sketchisodes, so if you want to see or listen to old jokes from Queer and Pleasant Strangers past, and they are all gathered there together for your enjoyment. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Twitch, I stream every Thursday at 19:30 UK hours approximately. Come by, I'll probably be playing some LEGO Force Awakens while I try and mop up the last few bits in that. And I have a Patreon, that's the one that pays my bills for as little as $1 a month. You can help me justify a 76-hour work week, please. Yes. And for $10 a month, you can get early access to Queer and Pleasant Strangers and Polyamory as soon as I've finished editing them, but always before everybody else. That's all of my ththings. Laura, will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.